we have encountered ancient Romans up against huge elephants charging them down, the dawning of American independence. Medieval knights cutting through longbowmen, Japanese samurai tearing through defenses, and mystical creatures tearing through enemy lines. However, not much has been touched on the way of Chinese history with the Total War team. That is now changing as Total War 3 Kingdoms is finally coming out. Welcome to the Gamers Among Us channel. If you haven't heard of us, we are a group of like-minded individuals who love video games, enjoy playing games, and want others to experience that joy as well. This is your host today, the Steel Grizzly, bringing you a new spotlight on Total War 3 Kingdoms. Total War 3 Kingdoms is set in ancient China during the tumultuous Three Kingdoms era. Made by Creative Assembly and published by Sega, this game will be available May 23, 2019 for PC, Linux systems, and Macintosh only. Like its predecessors, this game remains true to the turn-based strategy and real-time tactics. For any non-initiated Total War gamer, or just someone interested in dipping into a historic era-style game, that means something akin to a Risk tabletop experience with military city management, then zooming into battles to fight them on epic scales. One of my favorite factors of these games is the ability to control massive armies as you commit total war upon your enemies. This time around, you can play up to 12 different factions who must destroy the other factions, placing them under their belt, while unifying all of China to become its supreme ruler. Each factions are led by warlords including Dong Xiao, a vanguard-class hero who is a brutal despot that rules with an iron fist, using intimidation to control his people. Cao Cao, a commander hero that is extremely adept at diplomacy. Liu Bei, a commander that focuses on fighting, who is so inspiring his troops fight for free. And Sun Jian, an aggressive sentinel hero who uses guerrilla deployment in enemy territory with reduced mercenary costs. Talking of their most recent series, the Warhammer Total War, heroes are resurfacing and will be just as powerful as their magical countertypes. This game is modeled directly from the Guanxi system, which is the Chinese concept of dynamic internal relationships, taking a paradigm-shifting approach to character agency with iconic larger-than-life heroes and their relationships defining the future of ancient China. Each of these characters is brought to life with their own unique personality, motivations, dislikes, and likes. They can also form their own deep relationships with each other, both positive and negative, that will help shape your story and how it plays out, making a unique experience for the player each time they start a new game. Three Kingdoms is said to be the most visually stunning Total War game yet, incorporating the flamboyant wushu combat styling, art of war tactics, along with vibrant vistas and authentic Chinese-inspired artwork, which makes this game well worth a playthrough with the ancient China set as a backdrop is really a visual feast. While the turn-based campaign and real-time battles are more interconnected than ever before, instead of choosing a faction like old Total War games, you choose a specific character. Thus, any actions you take in battle now have a greater consequence affecting your hero's relation towards you, towards the player, towards friendships, and rivalries they develop with other characters. You can find unique items for each character and their mounts. There are also different classes of heroes with different active and passive abilities in combat. For example, Guardians are combat masters that can soak up damage, while Strategists can debuff enemies at range. Meanwhile, commanders excel at buffing nearby friendly troops. This all adds a world where powerful allies are one of the many keys to success, which adds a brand new element to how victory can be achieved. Taking a step back, you start out on the overall campaign map, similar to a giant risk board with fog of war encroaching in on the sides. You see your land, nation, and different characters to use. After the dissolution of the Han Dynasty, two leaders form a fragile alliance to take down the puppet emperor ruled by Dong Zhuo. This is the setting you are pushed into at the start of the game. This game relies heavily on diplomacy, as the system has been rebuilt from scratch to allow far more complex negotiations. Your proposals can include a much greater range of agreements and resources. You can ask for various forms of vassalage and offer specific treasures in return. A new coalition status allows factions to work together towards a specific military goal without becoming embroiled in full-scale military alliance. As your campaign advances, warlords will destroy or recruit one another until large power blocks are formed. You can give your heroes assignments in your settlements to boost stats like food production or citizen happiness. Doing these various activities helps to keep that hero loyal to you and keep them content. As this game is both a mixture of fantasy and history, the end results won't be the same alliances that occurred during the actual Three Kingdoms era of history. The campaign is designed to culminate in huge showdowns between large alliances. That is why diplomacy is such a large factor in this game, as you will try to tiptoe around specific battles to help get better alliances before dropping into an all-out conflict. When you're fighting, it is more than likely that the warlord will end up bending the knee instead of allowing himself to be killed, or you can actually end up trading your kingdom for a horse with this new diplomacy system. Moving away from the espionage and diplomacy, we have those giant battlefields where multitudes of armies converge to fight grandiose battles, where the heroes you bring into battle determine the makeup of your army. You can bring a collection of heroes and their advisors into a fight. The group of advisors is then determined by the hero commanding them. You can already tell this is getting more complex than Total War games of past. As described, the dynamics between the heroes will have consequences on the battle. If two heroes bond over the course of many battles, and one dies, that other hero may fly into a frenzy or choose to observe a period of mourning afterwards. The heroes are color-coded according to the Chinese philosophy of Wu Xing, which consists of the 5 elemental forces: water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. A fire-aligned hero would be more likely to be a more capable frontline warrior, like a vanguard or a champion, while a blue water strategist can help debuff frontline heroes like that aggressive fire-aligned hero. Elements do not hard counter one another, but there can be friction between them that you might want to take into consideration when you are forming armies. Is this game going to veer more towards the most recent Warhammer series of fantasy fictional styling, or stick to the Total War games of old with historical presence? As we have discussed, it seems that it will be more of a fictionalized expression of the romance of the Three Kingdoms, as this game focuses more on a sort of Dynasty Warriors hack and slash styling, which directly plays into the game's extensive new hero system, which are designed to stimulate some of the shifting allegiances of the period, similar to Shogun 2, with the art style being more romanticized. If you feel that one hero is too overpowered as he is in the field killing hundreds, and you want a more realistic styling, Total War will be including a classic mode, which lowers the hero overpowered dynamic, making them more human or realistic. This mode will take you from the fantastical and make it more similar to a classic historical Total War game. This seems like a great melding of Creative Assembly's more recent series that was a dive into fantasy and including the historical aspects. Hopefully this will help to appease long-term fans of the series and also bring in new fans. Thank you for tuning in to our Spotlight video. This is the Steel Grizzly bringing you all the information today for Total War Three Kingdoms. If you've enjoyed our look into this fantastical, semi-historical world, make sure to leave a like on the video and a comment below. If you'd like to keep up to date with new games coming out, make sure to hit subscribe and also click that bell icon so you don't miss out on any of those new games that may slip under your radar. So if you'd like to reach us outside of our YouTube, make sure to follow the links below for Twitch, Twitter, Discord, Facebook, and even Patreon if you'd like to support us directly. We recently finished up our episode 4 Grain of Sand Gamecast for nostalgic games and how they have impacted gaming today. If you'd like to check that out as well, it's on our YouTube under the Gamecast playlist, or you can search for the podcast on Anchor, or wherever you choose to listen to your podcast. I do hope you enjoyed our video, and as always, I wish you luck on your future games.